Hello and welcome to Behind the Music for Daily Hope. This weekend, we are exploring the topic of Passover. Now, we often think about Passover and the Last Supper and Jesus and those sorts of things, but we're taking it all the way back to the Old Testament where Passover began. So we are in Egypt, the Israelites are in slavery, there's been all of these plagues, and then God in his mercy comes up with this idea of Passover, and that's the way that the Israelites are freed and they're able to leave Egypt. So it's going to be an amazing message. I hope that you'll join us for that to learn a little bit more about the history and the beginning of Passover. Now, there's a hymn in our hymnal called At the Lamb's High Feast, and it's in the communion section. It could also be used as an Easter hymn. And the original text is from a Latin hymn that goes all the way back to the 6th or 7th century. And we even have something from 1425 that has it written out so beautifully in chant as it was being used as a hymn all those hundreds and hundreds of years ago. The text is just rich. It's in our green hymnal and it has 8 verses, and I'm not going to read them all for you, but I would encourage you to read them all because it is just beautiful, and it's this history that's come through all this test of time to tell us this story of Passover. Now, in this hymn, it uses the word Paschal, and that's not a word that we use very often outside of church. Paschal meaning Passover, originally also now used to mean Easter, as we celebrate Jesus being our Paschal Lamb, the resurrected Jesus who was the ultimate sacrifice for us. So when you hear Paschal, that's what it is. It's harkening back to the Passover of the Israelites in Egypt and still through today for us as we celebrate Easter and that gift that we have. Now this hymn, I'm just going to read you one verse. Go ahead and read them all. And then you're going to be listening to a recording of the early chant in Latin. Now, don't worry, this weekend we're not going to be chanting. We're not going to be singing in Latin. We'll be singing a very singable text in English, as Luther encouraged us to do, put it in a language where we understand what we're doing. But I did want you to hear just a little bit of the history of this, as it would have been sung hundreds and hundreds of years ago by other Christians around the world. So listen to this beautiful text, and I look forward to being back with you next week. Where the Paschal blood is poured, death's dark angel sheathes his sword. Israel's hosts triumphant go through the wave that drowns the foe. Praise we Christ whose blood was shed, Paschal victim, Paschal bread. With sincerity and love, eat we manna from above.